earn a living, you probably own a business, work for one, or want to start one. Business is central to your life. But do most business shows really speak to you?
Today on the show, the $1 billion valuation of
Balogun and Broad does. Let's talk about the stock market and Alaba market. Let's talk about share IPOs and diesel supply LPOs. Let's talk about Broad Street.
The Nigerian Stock Exchange recorded an all-time high of...
And Balogun Street.
The maximum I will spend on fuel to and fro was 4,000.
On Balogun and Broad, Wednesdays at 5.
Lagos, this is the realest business show on the radio because we talk about how the issues in the news affect businesses of all sizes and the people who work for these businesses. How will CBN's Naira note rollout and new cash restrictions impact the economy? It's not news, this Naira rollout, this cash withdrawal limits, these are not news stories anymore. The notes have been in circulation for a bit. I finally held it. Yay! I held it for the first time last week Friday. Dexter, who's on the show on Friday with Musical Moments, dashed me 1,000 Naira, brand new, because I was like, I've never seen it. I've not held it. I've seen it online, but I haven't actually seen it because I don't deal in cash quite a bit. And so he's like, oh, look at it in my wallet. I can give you one. Go buy something with it. And he gave it to me. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you very much. So I've held it. Yay me. I'm better than some of you who haven't held it yet. We'll talk about that in a bit. But yes, it is sort of scarce. But they are out there. And we know that they are scarce on purpose because the CBN wants to encourage more and more people to lean cashless, right? The old Naira note, by the way, still legal tender. Yes, they're on their way out, but it's still legal tender until January 31st, 2023. So until then, 200 Naira, the old one, the old 500, the old 1,000 notes, they are still legal tender. But by the time it's midnight, just like Cinderella's clothes, it will turn to ordinary paper. Now, lots of you have questions, you have concerns, you have opinions about these policies, about the way they're being rolled out, about the speed at which they're being rolled out. And my guest today is an economist. He's here to give us some context. Bozon Omafuye, welcome to Balogun and Broad on Hard Facts. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me, Sandra.
Yes.
I'm just a business journalist.
Okay, business journalist. Lagos, you can join the conversation as well.
I love it that way.
Okay. All right. We'll say that there, business journalist. Lagos, join the conversation. What questions or comments do you have about this new cash withdrawal restrictions and the Naira note rollout? Was on the state governors have called the CBN governor for a meeting on these policies tomorrow. Do we have any clarity on what they will be asking, what they'll be suggesting, how Emefiele will respond?
Well, I think we will need to wait to see what the governors forum wants to say. With due respect to the governors forum, I found a number of things happen in Nigeria, and I'm asking where they're actually come.
Oh, Bosom, we're not hearing you anymore. I think his internet has dropped out there a bit. Hopefully he rejoins the conversation and we can keep going. Lagos, don't forget you can join the conversation over Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3. You watch live. YouTube, Nigeria Info FM. We've got Twitter at Nigeria Info FM as well. Boson is back. You were saying something and then you trailed off.
Oh, sorry about that. Yes, I was saying that the Nigerian Governors Forum, the governors have the right to ask a question or ask questions of the central bank officials about the Naira policy. The policy has been well enunciated by the central bank at various fora. So I'm trying to find out what exactly is new that they want to know. And if it's going to be a public event, I'll really appreciate it that we can all listen to both parties. I mean, the governors and the central bank governor, whoever is designated to attend that meeting. To that extent, everything else the central bank wants everyone to know about the new Naira notes is already in public domain.
Okay. All right, then. So you have, but you do have the first principles business here, right? So you have the push towards cashless, right? And it's been going on for years. What are the CBN's reasons for preferring a cashless economy? Let's start there.
Well, a cashless economy is what everybody in Nigeria, around the world enjoys. And I'm sure everyone who wants to jackpot or whatever will say, oh, because in the US, yes, you just swipe your card this way and you swipe it that way, you touch a button, everything is fine. Oh, yes. But when it comes to Nigeria, everybody wants to hold cash. Everybody wants cash in under the pillow. But as soon as everyone steps on outside the country, everybody starts saying, oh, America, Europe, whatever is better than the country. So what makes these advanced economies better? Because we use technology. Are you with me? We use technology to drive financial inclusion. We need technology to run governance in Nigeria at all levels. You need technology to have disclosure about how many barrels of oil we produce and how many barrels are loaded onto the vessels that go out of the country and how many barrels or liters of oil do we bring in. You need technology to show disclosure and transparency in governance, in government procurement business across states and local government levels. So we need technology to drive the entire governance and democratic principles and structure everything in this country. You need technology in election and voting. So you can't say you want electronic voting and you don't want transactions to go digital. Everybody wants to say, let's use digital system to do elections. But if everybody says, no, I want my cash in my pocket. Now, there is a lot of cost when it comes to cash.
Right.
It costs a whole lot to produce.
Right.
So the less volume in terms of quantity that the central bank produces, the better. The less. Now, if you produce less, it also makes the surveillance of tracking the money launderers and tracking the counterfeiters a lot easier because the volume you have in circulation is smaller. The amount that the banks spend in managing currency and keeping vaults would also go a little bit lower. Then it makes life a whole lot easier for us. We're talking about a country with a population of young people increasing massively. When folks like those or like us are already looking at the dispatcher terminal ahead of us. So those who are coming through into the terminal, those who are young and whatever, we should be leaving for them a legacy of a digital economy. So if the federal government says you want a digital economy, then how do you want a financial system or banking system or monetary system that is not digital in the same vein?
Okay. All right, Lagos, you can join the conversation as well. 0700-993-993. You know, the CBN says that there are viable alternatives to cash, Boazon, like card payments, electronic payments, and transfers. And that's all true. But we still have very low penetration for electronic payments, especially among the rural poor and those with lower levels of education. Are these things not serious obstacles for a cashless policy? Does the withdrawal limit take these things into account, in your opinion?
Very simple answer. We have 200 million people, $500 billion kind of economy, but a very huge percentage of these are hands-to-mouth economy, what I call the beer parlor economy. So majority of Nigerians, we have a huge informal economy until the government strategically and through policies and actions that...
Are you still there? Okay.
Consistent. You don't want out of informal economy, move more Nigerians out of informal economy into the formal economy.
Right.
Some of the things that the central bank, the financial system, and the fintech guys want to do could look like a mirage, could look pushing the rest of it is good. However, we have an economy of what you call the hand-to-mouth economy. Most Nigerians run the economy from hand to mouth. Such that more people in fact laws inside companies not manufacturing. More cash would come. But more people move into the formal economy, the better for government to use their actually fake. So obviously not this economy that is growing more money. So the whole digital economy, cashless policy will work better if we if we make a lot of more rural towns and cities into modern cities. Most of the villages some of us came from and we ran down to Lagos years ago are still the same, if not worse than they were. We left them. We haven't really seen modernization across Nigeria, except the state capitals. Every state governor, every new governor comes into a state, he modernizes the city, the state capital, maybe his own hometown, and the rest of the state is still as it were. So we need to move urbanization rapidly so that people will become more enlightened, they'll get more social services. It's a lot easier to get them onto financial inclusion and using a financial, digital economy, financial space. But as long as they remain rural, please go ahead.
But until we've moved those people into the formal economy, shouldn't the CBN go slower on cashless? Can the cart come before the horse?
I just love that question. If you wait forever, you never get anything done. Now, if you go back in history, was the United States all villages and hamlets turned into cities before you have cashless and digital economy in the United States? Was that what happened in Japan and China? No, you would have to move. Look, Sandra, look at the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The only sector that has been consistently progressive is the financial services industry. That is why I have been a journalist for 32 years. There is no other part of this economy in Federal Republic of Nigeria had made substantial progress. When last did I write a check? When last did I see a check? When last did anybody go to the bank and have to sleep over or wait for a check confirmation? We all use alert these days on our phones. That is all part of digitalization. That is all part of digital or financial system. If we had waited like other ministries and parastatals in this country, we will still not have ATM in this country. The machines won't be existing. So the financial services had been at best as one of the world. We have BVN today. Nigeria's BVN is one of the best in the world. Ask anyone anywhere.
Yes. However, these Western nations that you mentioned, they didn't push cashless until they had majority formal economies. So again, are we putting the cart before the horse here?
No, I'm coming. We need to move structural. The speed at which the financial services sector is moving is so faster than the rest of the economy. So the fault is not, would you want to slow down the financial services sector and go at the pace at which Ministry of Works and Housing is going? At the space, at the speed at which we can't fix roads, we can't fix electricity. Do you think that if we have the financial and banking system, the way electricity goes in and out, do you think by now you'll be able to get money out of your bank in 2 days or 3 days? I was aware years and decades ago when the Central Bank of Nigeria had to work with the power with NEPA in those days to ensure that all banks do have power. Every bank in Nigeria has a power. Every telecommunications, MTN, Glo, whatever, they all have they use diesel, they use generators.
Okay.
Do you think if we had not done all of that, we could still stay with Nitel today and say we're waiting for everybody?
Okay. All right. Let's move on. Let's move on. I want to look at this thing from the viewpoint of a micro SME and the customers of that micro SME. Think about my 1 million listeners, right? Who go to the market every weekend, right? They are going to 10 different stalls, so they're making 10 different payments. They don't want to pay 10 transfer fees, so of course they'll want to withdraw cash once and pay cash to the 10 traders, right? So that means that there's still going to be a major demand for cash, right? As long as transfer fees exist as an incentive for cash, can an aggressive cashless policy work?
Now, what I will say is therefore that the central bank will need to sit with the banks and the other operators and others within the ecosystem. If you understand what I'm saying. The banks and NIPS, for example, and other agents who are involved in money transfer electronically and whatever, to say, okay, what can we give back to the people?
Okay.
So, and I'm not against that. Okay. If we say, okay, fine, can we cut, because there's going to have turnover right now, volume will go up. So, like you rightly, a very good example you gave, I'm going to do 10 transactions. Do I need 2 purchases or so? Do I need to do 10 transfers or whatever? Because each transfer I make, I'm going to lose X Y amount of money. And I'm just using a very small account of savings account. So how much do I have? So I agree and I agree with you completely. I think between now and the end of the month, or as soon as this new scenario, this new regime comes into full effect, the central bank will quickly sit down, look at the turnover of what is going in, what is going out, look at the problems of infrastructure and delays in some of these transactions coming through. Because the 10 transactions you talked about may not all go through because there could be downtime through the ecosystem in which some of the transactions are rejected or denied. And the individual will need to make payments and the person who is making sales will have to make sales. If not, we're going to run into problems. So I agree that somehow, and I think the central bank could come up and say, look, if transaction fee is 10 Naira or 5 Naira or 3 Naira per whatever, let's reduce it to 50 kobo or 75 kobo so that at least you can give something back to the people. Because you are now saying, let's go a whole lot more cashless, but there are infrastructure deficiencies across the across the entire architecture. Sometimes it's not it's not the fault of the bank.
But you see, you're saying
POS machine operator.
But you're saying that, and I'm thinking, well, shouldn't the CBN have done this first before rolling this out as aggressively as they have?
You can't do that first, Sandra.
You can't do the consultations first.
No, I'm not saying the consultation can be done, but you can't roll it out. You can't roll out an incentive when you don't know how it's going to look like. Look, you need, first of all, to know, let's assume right now that we're doing 1 million transactions per day, right? And from January 31st or from February 31st, maybe a month into it, you find out that transaction has gone from 1 million to 100 million. Oh, then you have data to work with. So the central bank will have feedback definitely from the banks, the NIBs, and every other person, every other folks in between to know how volume is going up. Then they can begin to work, okay, what can we do? Or you can't do that now and say we're going to reduce the transaction cost now because of the, you can't put that first. For example, you can't put that interest first and say we're going to cut it down because of this. You need to see how the policies work. You go to your doctor, you give you the first injection, so you're going to take over 3 days. I'm going to give you the 3 on the same day, so take 1. Then he looks at the second and says, well, it looks like you're much better. I don't think you need a second injection. Or I'm going to convert that injection to XYZ. Or come back another day, let's see how you've improved. So we can't say we're reducing the cost of transaction when we have not even gone through the line. It's like giving someone a reward for a contest that has not taken place.
Okay.
Let the context take place. Let the numbers come in. Then we can
Lagos, join the conversation. 0700-993-993-993. Women call us on 01465-7190. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. Very quickly before I go to the phone calls, though, we've seen the rise of the POS agent as a bridge between the cash economy and the cashless economy, right? POS agents are saying that this policy will kill their businesses, or it will make things harder. The CBN now said that they'll be able to apply for waivers. And again, I have to ask, what does this say to you about how well the CBN has considered the second order, third order effects of this policy?
You're talking, when you talk about the central bank, I'm sure sometimes folks talk about a central bank like one small back office somewhere, a mechanic small workshop where only
I don't think anyone does that.
And his wife.
I don't think anyone does that.
I'm coming. I've been on the street long enough and financial journalism long enough to know how average Nigerians think. When you say central bank, they think it's just one man business. Somebody sitting somewhere and he just thinks whatever he wakes up in one morning or in the evening is what he thinks he does. We're talking about a whole institution with researchers, with consultants, not only here but around the world.
So how come they were not seeing these other effects, these knock-on effects? How come they didn't see it?
Hold on a second. You're not talking about another industry. The central bank was the one that rolled out the agents for the banks.
Right.
These same agents you're talking about, right?
Right.
So you telling me, Sandra, that they never thought about, nobody in the entire central bank, nobody, nobody. You want to believe that as well, that nobody thought about it and they just said, let's go. No. The point is that there is always one policy after another, and you begin to adjust as you move along. Folks forget that central banking management is what we're talking about. Central banking is not, it's not magic, it's a miracle. It's not a magic, it's not a sleight of hand. You consider, if we go this way, this is what we're achieving. That's with the agent bank. Are you getting me? Then you begin to see emerging risks. And people don't think sometimes that central banks sees the entire system and see new risks emerging upon what had been done. For example, perhaps when we started some of these things, nobody thought about the level of counterfeiting, money laundering, kidnapping for ransom that had become the order of the day in hundreds of millions. Now, you need to immediately go back to the drawing board. That is why it is called central bank management.
But here's the thing.
You're managing the monetary policy.
Here's the thing.
So
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If they had consulted properly at first, how come they did not realize that the limits were too low and that they had to change the limits in a matter of days? Because I'm asking that question because
the central bank said right from the onset. Did you listen to what he said? Play it back. This is the script. Read the fine line yourself. It's written.
What did he
black
say?
and white.
What did he say?
What the central bank said is that this is going to be a limit. Okay?
Okay.
Then, because that is why it is called management, and I don't understand why we think that this has to be fixed. The management means that as you are driving, you see the road ahead of you, you are doing 40, 50, 60. Then suddenly you find you need to do 30. Then you see why you need to do 80. Then you see why you need to go to 20 kilometers per hour. That is what is called driving. Professional driving.
Okay.
So that is what central banking is, and that's what every organization do. You look at a situation, we say we're going to do this, then you say, okay, based on the feedback we are also getting, because there is no policy that is one size fits all. As soon as you put it in, are you getting me? Then you begin to get feedback as well. Okay?
Okay.
That is being a responsive management. Instead of being saying we have a responsive policy action retooling as you move on, we are saying they shouldn't have done that.
Okay, hold that thought. We're going to come back to it. We need to take a break. Lagos, if you just tuned in, this is Balogun and Broad on 99.3 Nigeria Info. It's our business segment where we talk about real business issues that affect real businesses, the people who work for them, the people who want to run them, own them, etc., etc. I've got a business journalist on the show with me. His name is Boazon or Mafuye. Lagos will take a break. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. Don't go away.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
All we need is something to push our
you from the harsh effects of Hamatan. Created to lock in moisture, Vaseline keeps your skin smooth, soft, and protected.
Our country one better. Nigeria one better. Who go do one for us? So people of Nigeria as vice president. What ABC?
Everyone is at the table for lunch. Mom is bringing in the jollof rice. And then...
John!
Sorry, Mom.
Hello? Can I order some jollof rice to be delivered?
Mama saves the day. Lunch is here.
Mom, I got some Coke too.
Just come and eat, Joe.
Cook up memorable moments because family lunch and an ice cold Coke make a recipe for wonder. Coca-Cola, real wonder.
Whenever I tell people I'm a full-time master student and a content creator, they go, huh? How are you able to do both all at once? You be which? No be juju. Na MTN 5G. Ever since 5G came into my life, I've been on cloud 9. I get to take my classes online in real time and upload my videos before you say Jack Robinson. Even Babe isn't left out. Our long distance is waxing strong.
Hello, babe. Can you hear me? Your video is frozen again.
We don't do that here, because life is a breeze.
Experience the wonders of MTN 5G. Hyper-fast internet connection with no buffering, zero lag, and quality data capabilities like never seen before. No pichuju, not MTN 5G. Now available on iPhone. MTN, what are we doing today?
Roski, my G. After you, now you. I be one. I beg, just cut and right there. I no get any money at all. I beg. Baba, calm down. Now your account number I want. My account number? You want use and borrow money, Abi? Hey, them right maga put for my head and they ask you. Oh yeah, see the account number. What's it mean? Yeah! 5 million naira! Yeah! Baba, my new name now Solo Mega.
You say free change your life from Bariga to Banana Island with Mega Millions Naija. Most of the biggest lotteries in the world don't land Naija. US Powerball, Mega Millions US, Super Enaloto, Euro Millions, and many other Obunge lotteries. Oh yeah, visit www.megamillionsnaija.com to join the 30BG gang.
This message is brought to you by Mega Millions Naija. Play it, win it. Not for those under 18.
We all have that one friend that always hides everything from everyone else. Like my guy, Sheon, that got 1 gig free data when he downloaded my MTN NG app. Did he share the gist with us?
No!
But we found out, and even something he doesn't know, that we get up to 2 gig data if we recharge 500 Naira or more on my MTN NG app with our debit card.
You don't mean it!
That's not all. We also get 10% extra on every airtime recharge made on my MTN NG app.
Wow!
Will we share the gist with him?
Yes.
That's correct. You get 1 gig free data when you download my MTN NG app. Up to 2 gig when you recharge 500 Naira and above with your debit card on my MTN NG app. And 10% extra on every recharge made on the app. So what are you waiting for? Download my MTN NG app today to enjoy. Terms and conditions apply.
Guys, here he comes.
Guy, any gist today?
What are we doing today?
Moves must be made. My people just to work hard. Dreams and challenges motivate us. But sometimes, when the journey gets tiring, all we need is something to push our limits.
Reactor, ignite your energy. Bring out your inner champion. Every reactor,
for this president election, Bola Tinubu, na the man wey we all know. Na him God use turn Lagos to the best state for Nigeria. As Asiwaju do for Lagos, na so him ready to do am for the whole country. Vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu for president of Nigeria. Kashim Shettima as vice president. Vote APC.
As the year begins, men ought to pray and not to faint. We gather here as customary with the children of God in Salvation's Ministries, the home of success, from the 23rd to 27th of January for the big one, Glory Reign 2023. A place where God shows himself mighty through the word, healing, and deliverance with God's servant, Pastor David Ibiome.
Where you said yes, go and love. Where you are rejected, be accepted. Whatever was not working, I command them to work. Be blessed in the name of Jesus.
Take your place with God's children at Salvation Ministries Ikoyi from on the 23rd to 27th of January at the Villa Dome, 2/7 Martins Okunwala Close off Omo-Osage Street, opposite Chicken Republic, Awolowo Road, Ikoyi. Time 4:30 p.m. daily. For inquiries, call 0816-727-6383. Glory Reign 2023. God bless you as you come.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
Lagos, I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. You're listening to Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Today I'm asking, how will the CBN's Naira note rollout and new cash restrictions impact the economy? I have business journalist on the show with me, Boazon Omafuye, and he's been, trying to make sense of all of this, and he's had some interesting answers, some of them that I've been pressing him on before we went on that break.
I'm not like that. People try to make sense of it all.
And we're trying to figure out where we're going to land one way or the other, But and you made quite the interesting point about management, yes? But you see, this particular management happened because the public spoke up. Are you saying that the CBN couldn't have suggested a limit, consulted the public before announcing an official change? Wouldn't that be better than making two announcements in less than 2 weeks?
Now, you're living and you're dealing with a developing economy. So, many years ago, the World Bank did a training for those of us who are economic journalists. I'm talking about 25 more than odd years ago or so, Dr. Obodek. And the title of that particular seminar, which was held at the USIS then in those days, U.S. Information Service Office, was managing communication in a highly impoverished economy. Now, if you're going to communicate in a country, in an economy that is highly impoverished, you get them, in which the structures of the economy, politically, socially, culturally, is not well aligned, then you're prepared to move things as they happen. We are not in any developed economy yet, and with all structures, everything is in place. I don't want to give you too many examples, and I've walked through many of them in the stock market. The days of privatization of the banks, the Afribank, the First Bank, and the Unibank, and the others, which I saw what happened. Announcement had been duly made for some of the shares to be offloaded on the floor of the exchange. The first tranche of the multi-billion shares of one of the banks, and I don't want to mention his name, had gone on. Then the guys in political gabs, in Agbada, Babariga, and all that, suddenly appeared at the stock exchange one day in the morning. And I was there as early as always, as about 8:30 in the morning. And they came, about a dozen or more of them, and I knew something was wrong. And they came and told the management of the exchange and said, no, these particular transactions can no longer go on. And that was the day when the second batch was to go on. And what's the reason? They said, well, it was not advertised in one particular newspaper in certain part of the country. But the stock exchange says this was duly advertised in at least 3 major national newspapers. And they said it was not advertised for their own people in their own language. In this same country, And that transaction was stopped. Right there on the floor, the Director General of the Exchange came to the floor and said the transaction will not go on because they have to satisfy that particular part of the country. Look, Sandra, we've been through all of this. We live here. So we know this is not a perfect structured federation we have. There are too many moving interests.
However, one way to manage comms in a poor economy is to make policy announcements well in advance of deadlines.
And I will tell you. And I will tell you why in all cases, in policies, not all announcements are made too well in advance for a number of reasons and for security reasons. And for another point, not many people think of the central bank as a security organization.
But even this one was a security problem.
Currency management is a security issue.
Okay.
You want to announce everything too well in advance that you're doing this, and you want the guys you want to checkmate to go ahead of you. You want the counterfeiters and money launderers to go ahead of you.
But the counterfeiters still went ahead of the CBN.
How do you know?
Because
are you part of them?
No. Because barely days after CBN's announcement, the NCDC started arresting a bunch of people with cartons of counterfeit money. Wouldn't longer lead times have given the CBN more time, more opportunity to educate and sensitize this highly impoverished economy? I'll give you an example.
Now, how long does it take Bosun, for example, anyone to counterfeit a currency? What is counterfeiting? Counterfeiting means you just photocopy it.
Yes.
Look, these guys.
However,
guys are in business for years and for decades.
However, if
all they need is just one piece, and they can do it in the next 2 minutes.
If the CBN had spent some time,
that does not mean
sensitizing people. Okay. I'll give you.
Let's do sensitization thing. Sensitization in every situation is an ongoing thing. You and I know that you cannot sensitize 260 million Nigerians for the next 10 years. I've seen sensitization before, and I just give you an example in which they said their zone was not sensitized, even though that particular transaction was advertised in one of the most popular, well-read newspaper across the Federal Republic of Nigeria. What are we talking about? And people come out and say, no, it was not done in our own whatever. So we have to roll this exercise back. You have to wait and delay it for another 2, 3, 4 weeks. We've been through some of these things before, and don't let us pretend for once that we're not Nigerians, but we all are. How long do you want to sensitize the people? You want to go house to house, every village, every
But Bozon, we've done Naira note sensitization before now. Most recently with the 20 and 10 Naira notes, we had longer times, and we didn't have these complaints because the lead time was longer.
It's not the same type of exercise.
Right now, we have markets that haven't had a visit from the CBN. So they don't even know how to differentiate between the good notes and the fake ones.
No, that is not. Let me tell you, to make it very clear, differentiation of fake notes is not your primary concern.
Okay.
Now, let me tell you this. Let me say this very clearly. You go to your bank or an ATM, which is a valid and a regulated point of getting cash, right? And you can make withdrawals. Now, someone can come and buy whatever market from you. Are you getting my point? On the roadside. And perhaps that individual gives you any of the new printed notes that is counterfeit, right? That's a reality that could happen, right? When you make deposits in the bank of the same currency, it flags it. Are you getting me?
I'm listening.
Are you getting the point? Now, the central bank have sent some information out about how to recognize and see what the new Naira notes is. If you want this currency, how do you sensitize people and when they have not have the currency in their hands? You're telling me that, how do you sensitize me? I need to have it. I need to feel it. I need to use it before I would know whether it is genuine or not. I can't do that in absentia of the currency in my hands.
Okay.
How much sensitization would you do when you don't? He said, he who feels it knows it.
Okay.
So you don't even have it in your hand yet to see it and use it for transaction. How do you then know whether it's going to be fake or genuine?
Okay. All right.
We need to understand central banking. You may not like the man who is there, the governor or whoever. I've reported about 7-8 different governors of the central bank in Nigeria, so I know.
Okay. All right. Let's
point is that we
let's talk
need
to
to
Lagos. Let's
understand-
talk to Lagos. Lagos will riot if we don't start taking their calls. 0700-993-993-993 01465-7190. We've got Facebook as well. Facebook is Nigeria Info 99.3. Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, Sandra.
Thanks for calling. What's your name, sir?
Okay. My name is Max. I've already started rioting.
Sorry, don't riot.
Okay, I'm not rioting.
Okay, thank you.
I understand that your guest, as in, I can't fault a lot of his arguments.
Okay.
He's spot on.
Okay.
But here's my take. What if this was done the same way the cashless policy was introduced in 3 states, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt?
Okay.
That's a large enough size to tell you, okay, these are the problems you are likely to face if we do it pan Nigeria, because all these states have a subset of what you have in Nigeria. That could have helped, so that we know that after that phase, next phase is everybody adjust. There has been rumors, or there's an opinion that it was targeted at, like he also mentioned that it was targeted at some sort of security measure due to kidnapping. Fine. But the abruptness is not going to work for everybody. But however, it's a CBN, like you said, it's a CBN, and they are big. So, but that's my suggestion. Why couldn't it have been done in phases? Maybe start with 6 to 5 states, then extend to 36 states, even the FCT. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling. 99.3, hello.
Hello.
Thanks for calling. What's your name, sir?
Okay, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name, sir?
This is Taiwo from Somolu.
Welcome, Taiwo. Go ahead.
Okay. I listened to your program concerning financial this thing that's going on concerning the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Yes, please.
Your host,
my guest.
Man, yes. Your guest, yes. I want to ask him.
Okay.
Because according to Central Bank of Nigeria, he said that the last day is on the 31st of January. Understand me?
Okay.
And the new note is not circulating. It's not around. I want to tell him that until that 31st of January, there are people that are going to market to go and buy something, purchasing this, purchasing that. The Naira will still be in their hand. And because they should remember that people will eat. They buy something to eat. Because I could remember during the Agba regime, when they changed the money, there was a particular time they stopped the old note. They were distributing the new note to the nation. This time around, it's not like that. Our people are not going to encounter problem. I want the man to explain to us. Because when they said that on the 31st of October, so the thing is not going to, I don't know how they want to do it, that old notes will still not be in circulation with the people. I want him to talk on that.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for calling. So we've got 2 calls, Bozan. Go ahead.
Okay. I think I'm going to take the second one first, and I really appreciate that. The point is that, as I said, I know that as we get close to the 31st, and as you said, Sandra, and as I said, there could be a few fine-tuning of this. When you're going to change from an old order to the new one, it's reasonably expected there will be a few discomfort. Now, whether we're going to deny that or not is anybody's call. But I know that there's no change for good. Every good news comes with responsibility. If you give me a Bentley car today, whatever, I'm going to be thinking of where I'm going to park it.
Okay.
I'm going to be thinking of how it's not going to get scratched by downfall or Kada riders. So every good news comes with responsibility. So if you want good news and good things to happen, when we must be ready to, maybe oversee how the transition takes place. This is a major transition. Remember, we could have been doing this serially, like every 5 or 8 years, so that all of us would have gotten used to it. It's like someone who doesn't get used to getting sick all the time. The day he falls sick, he's going to go all the way down on all fours. That's where we are. We ought to have been making steady progress sustainably over time, but we left them undone. Now we're trying to do it in one fell swoop, as it were. Then it's hot enough. We become like dry fish that is getting difficult to bend because we've stayed dry for so long. Therefore, what will happen on the 31st, and I don't know, I don't work for the central bank, but what I know is that if you have a 10,000, 100,000, and you deposit it in the bank with the old note, your money is safe in that bank, and the bank is owing you that amount of money.
Right.
So if on that 31st, if I take 100,000 or 10,000 naira to the bank, which is the old naira note, okay, and I go to the ATM and I need 2,000 naira or 5,000 naira, what I will get will be the new notes. The balance of that 10,000 is in the bank. So it does not impoverish me. You see, I would have had a bit of more issue if we are introducing new set of notes. If you get what I'm trying to say. For example, we are scrapping 200 naira notes and we are bringing in 5,000 naira notes, for example. If you understand what I'm saying, or we are scrapping 200 naira notes and we are bringing new, then I will have a lot of issues. Do you understand? Because again, you're bringing a currency that for different value to the system. But in this case, it's still the same currency of the same value, just the security architecture of the currency. That is all. So it's like taking my car, which is, I have a white car, I've been using it for long, and I said, I don't like white color anymore. Can I put it in red color? And I go to the painter and I repaint it in red. The structure of the car has not changed.
Okay. All right.
I just need to wait 1 day or 2 days for the car to be repainted, and I still have the same old car. The engine is not. That is what it is.
Unfortunately, we are out of time, but I'm glad that you are now saying that people will be negatively impacted on the 31st and adjustments will have to be made.
There's always some measure of inconvenience.
Bwazon Obafuye is a business journalist. Bwazon, thank you for your time. We have to go.
Thank you, Sandra.
We're going to do this again soon. Lagos, don't go away. I've got information to share with you. Yes?
Yeah, so in all your planning, make sure that you're planning to get a space for yourself and your family at the ATL. Now, what is the ATL? It's an Atlantic Boulevard estate, and it's a middle-income residential estate on the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway here on the island. It's just 5 minutes drive from the Jubilee Bridge, Aja, okay? And when this development is going to be completed, trust me, they're going to be offering you a fully serviced gated estate consisting of 85 units of 2 and 3 bedroom apartments, 3-bedroom terrace houses, and 4-bedroom maisonette. They will even provide you with integrated mutual supporting services and amenities for the residential community to enjoy in a secure and comfortable environment. It is very good for a contemporary family to live in style, a buy-to-let investment, and even a store of wealth